CPUSA 0306-49 recording length 06 minutes and 34 seconds. This recording was created using www.spokentext.net. Isn't communism dead? Haven't Marx's predictions been disproved? Communism isn't dead. In the late 80s and early 90s, many countries that were socialist fell due to a combination of forces including capitalist economic pressure, popular unrest, mistakes and shortcomings. Since then, capitalism has been restored in most of those countries, resulting in a disastrous drop in the living standards and well-being of the masses of people. People in many of the former socialist countries are now subjected to the most vicious, gangster capitalism, with rapidly declining health and life expectancy, and rapidly increasing unemployment, poverty, infant mortality, suicide, sexism, racism, and right-wing nationalism. Communism isn't dead. There is still a worldwide movement of communists, who are active in the struggles in their own countries, who apply Marxism to their conditions and according to the history of their countries, and who organize international solidarity. For example, the South African Communist Party played a significant role in the fight to end apartheid and plays an important role now in the labor and social justice movements in South Africa. For example, the Communist Party of Nepal helped lead the struggle to transform Nepal from a monarchy to a constitutional democracy and has played a leading role in the government. For example, the Communist parties of Vietnam and Cuba, which are leading their countries and governments through times of difficult and complex economic transition. For example, the elected communists who run the government of the states of Kerala and West Bengal in India. Some of the predictions by Marx and Engels didn't work out the way they expected. For example, the first socialist revolutions didn't take place in the most advanced industrial societies, agrarian countries, where capitalism did not yet have a stranglehold on political power, were the first places where socialism came into existence. However, most of their predictions have proven to be true. The ever-increasing internationalization of capital, the ever-larger merger mania consolidating economic and political power in ever fewer hands, the inability of capitalism to avoid repetitive economic crises, the ever-growing gap between rich and poor, the insatiable drive of capitalists for more profits. Does the CPUSA believe in conspiracy theories? While politics and international events can't be explained as part of some single grand conspiracy, there are real conspiracies. The Nixon White House cover-up of Watergate, the Reagan White House cover-up of Irangate, and many more are examples of conspiracies. The three big conspiracy stories of the Bush administration thus far, all interlinked, are the stealing of the election, the Enron scandal, and the speed and thoroughness of Bush's turn to the offensive after 9/11 on every front, moving to cram through legislation restricting or eliminating democratic rights. Even though Bush conspired against the U.S. people to steal the elections in 2000, the CPUSA, rather than focusing on proving the conspiracy, participated and gave leadership to the mobilization of thousands who rallied against the theft. Our role is not to prove what goes on behind closed doors and hidden boardrooms. Our role is to mobilize, educate and organize. Under capitalism there will always be conspiracies against the well-being of the people. The point is to fight against the repercussions of these conspiracies, mobilize mass support for democratic change and fight for the immediate needs of the people, like healthcare, education, job security, a living wage and pensions. The only way to stop these types of conspiracies is to organize and fight for socialism. What are the CPUSA views on the environment? One of our main slogans is people and nature before profits. We are for developing policy that provides for a sustainable economy and a sustainable ecology. Where possible, we participate in environmental movements, and recognize and work on the environmental aspects of struggles on the shop floor and in unions. We oppose drilling in the Alaskan National Wildlife Refuge and we oppose the use of nuclear power until there is a safe way to dispose of waste. And if there is no safe way, don't use nuclear power at all. We fight against subjecting workers to untested new chemical compounds with unknown health consequences, currently being introduced at the rate of 3,000 or 4,000 new compounds each year. We support the use of sustainable forest practices. which also are more labor-intensive, creating new jobs and job retraining for laid-off lumber workers. We seek to build unity between the environmental movement and other important movements, the labor, civil rights, women's, youth, peace, and immigrant rights movements, to name a few. To build a better world, we must have a world to build on. The greatest environmental threat is that of nuclear war. We are for complete disarmament and for the destruction of all nuclear weapons. There was environmental damage in the former socialist countries. Some of that was due to their efforts at forced industrialization, which put the environmental dangers of such development low on their list of priorities. A related problem was that in adopting machinery and industrial processes from advanced capitalist countries, they unintentionally adopted the capitalist economic realities embedded in the machinery and processes. In other words, capitalist industrial development is based on not having to pay the costs for most of the waste products it generates. When socialist countries used that as a model to develop their own industry, they ended up with the same skewed industrial waste model. They did this for several good reasons. To shortcut the process of technological change, to quickly provide more goods for their citizens, to be able to compete with capitalist countries. However, unintentionally, adopting technological processes designed to function in capitalist reality, they brought in environmental problems that relied on the ability of industries to dump waste without paying the social and environmental costs. To adapt, rather than just adopt, major industrial processes will take more time. This recording was created using spoken text, the free online text-to-speech converter. To learn more about spoken text, visit www.spokentext.net.